So it's June 24th today. We are in the Hennepin County Government Center District Court, and I'm here with Jingyao's lawyer, Mr. William Florin. Mr. Florence, thank you so much for doing this today for us.
Well, I think Jingyao really appreciates all of you coming and supporting her.
And we really appreciate for all the work that you do for all of us. So the first question that I have for you is, what's today's hearing about from the plaintiff side, from Jingyao's side?
Okay. To try to explain it as simply as I can without sounding like a lawyer, when you file a lawsuit in Minnesota, and other states are the same way, you cannot ask for punitive damages when you originally file your lawsuit. You have to take evidence that comes out through depositions and otherwise in the case and put that together, and then later have a separate hearing where you ask the court to add punitive damages to your claim. So that's why it wasn't filed on the front end when we first filed the lawsuit asking for a finding for her compensatory losses, her pain and suffering, her fears, her emotional trauma, her PTSD, things like that. We couldn't add punitive damages, which are damages that punish the defendant, like a fine, on the front end, because Minnesota does not allow that on the front end. You have to go through a hearing like this, and that's what this was about today. We had our hearing where we had to present our evidence that shows that we're entitled to now add punitive damages to the case. That was the one hearing. The second hearing was JD.com, the corporation, has moved to be dismissed from the case. This is the second time they've moved to be dismissed. It's a little different motion than the first time. What they're saying is that whatever happened in her apartment, it wasn't related to JD.com. It was for Mr. Liu's personal gratification. And so therefore JD.com should not be liable for what happened. Not that Mr. Liu wouldn't be liable, but that JD would not be liable. So that was the other motion that was heard today. They were both, through the 4 hours, they were both being heard at the same time.
The next question is, what do you think about their responses? So today is for Jingyao asking for a permission to ask for the jury for punitive damages.
I think we have a strong case. I think they have a weak case. I think that's best exemplified by the fact that any time lawyers, and for that matter, it's just people in society, when they get so frustrated, they start making personal attacks. So instead of making attacks that are based upon the law and the evidence, they make attacks that are personal. They call her a liar. They call her a fabricator. That's why women don't come forward, because they don't want to go through this stuff. They don't want to go through being called liars and fabricators and extortionists and in this particular case we now have xenophobia added to all the other stuff that women deal with that are suffering like this. So.
Exactly, and this is in response to their using the video footage to attack Jingyao's credibility, right?
Well, we kind of ran out of time. They selectively edited some things. We have answers for all that we feel really comfortable when a jury sees the entirety of it. They're going to see what that was. And what that was really an attack on her. Maybe that's something that JD.com and Richard Liu want to see. They want to see personal attacks like that. That's something that they're very insecure about. I think it just shows the insecurity that the lawyers have in their argument, that they have to resort to those kind of personal attacks. Because if they felt comfortable with their legal arguments and their factual arguments, they wouldn't have to call our expert a racist and call Jingyao a liar and a fabricator. That's unnecessary. It's just, I think their insecurity of their argument got away from them and they couldn't help themselves.
Could you please give us a timeline on when the judge is going to render his decision?
Well, I think it'll be fairly soon, because the trial is set to begin on October 3rd.
October 3rd.
October 3rd, yeah. And it's probably going to be in trial here for a month. If he grants our motion, we have the opportunity to inquire into Richard Liu's personal assets and JD.com's assets and revenues, more so than just what is publicly known. I mean, they were entitled in Minnesota on punitive damages to know about everything that he owns, not just his JD assets. But I don't think the judge is going to wait real long on this because he knows that we have an opportunity to get all that information before the trial starts. And, you know, right now we're just probably about 100 days out from trial, so we expect it's not going to be that long until they because he has made it very clear this trial will not be continued. That this trial is definitely happening October 3rd, possibly even September 26th, the Monday before.
Is there anything that you want to add and tell our audience?
The last time I saw some of you was several years ago before COVID, when you showed up with your support for her at another hearing where JD.com was trying to get dismissed that they lost. I know you know this. Jingyao needs your support, and I know she appreciates your support. This is a very important case to all of you, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So we recognize that as lawyers as well. We're going to fight hard for it. We're going to do the best job we can, and we're optimistic. We really are optimistic on this case, and hopefully that a jury verdict will do something to change what's going on in China. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so
All
much.
right.